Listen to me carefully. You're fighting the wrong war. Seriously, you're out there trying to build, trying to add, trying to become more disciplined, more focused, more successful. You're reading all the right books. You're listening to all the right podcasts. You're making all the list of everything you know you need to do. You're trying to build a brand new you right on top of the old cracked foundation. And it's not working. You're failing every single time. And today, I'll tell you exactly why. Welcome to the Out Hustle Mentality Podcast, where insight meets impact. I'm your host, Joe Olivas, and today we're declaring war on the limiting beliefs that are holding you back. In this episode, I'm going to show you why you're struggling, how to recognize the patterns that are sabotaging you, and how you can create new, productive patterns so you can finally live the life that you say you've always wanted to. Now let's lock in and let's get after it. Ever wonder why people seem to crush their goals while you're still stuck at the starting line? I mean, you say you want it, you say you want to succeed, but you just haven't cracked the code? Whatever success looks like for you, it just feels out of reach. Well, here's the secret: just wanting isn't enough. There's a critical piece you're missing, and without it, your wanting is just wishful thinking, nothing more than a dream. And it's time for you to wake up. Principle number 2 of the out hustle mentality teaches us everything you do first begins with desire. The strength of your desire is key. When your desire is strong enough, it moves you to action. It drives you to find the answers. And when that desire is powerful enough, you begin to see the patterns. And once that happens, you'll know exactly what to do. You see, there's a pattern in the world of elite performers that most people completely miss. We hear about it all the time: 1% improvement. Add a little here, add a little there, and it's a great idea. And I can hear and feel the frustration as you're screaming from your computer right now, asking me, then why isn't it working for me? Well, look at it this way: your old identity is like a fortress. It's got high walls, a deep moat, and thousands of soldiers defending it. Those soldiers are your habits, your beliefs, your fears, your comfort zones. If you try to storm the main gate with some crazy all or nothing change like, tomorrow I'm waking up at 5 a.m. and I'm going to the gym every day and I'm quitting sugar for good and I'm doing it all cold turkey, that army inside the fortress, it's going to crush you, and it will be quick. You'll be exhausted by noon and back to your old ways by dinner, wondering what the heck just happened. Why? Because you're fighting the wrong war. You can't build a palace on a landfill. You can't create a new you without first demolishing the old one that is committed to being average. Before you can build, you must clear the ground. Before you can add, you must subtract. Before you can rise, you must learn to execute. You don't storm a fortress, you starve it. You cut off its supply lines, one by one. You eliminate 1% of its resources every single day. Each one a tiny, almost meaningless cut, but 1,000 cuts will bleed any fortress dry. This is where the book Extreme Ownership by Navy SEALs Jocko Willink and Leif Babin come into play. Jocko and Leif talk about owning every single aspect of your world. Why? Because as long as you're blaming your job, your schedule, your family, your health, your situation, your circumstance, you're giving the enemy, your old self, a place to hide. Ownership is the act of drawing a map of the fortress. It's identifying every guard post, every supply line, every weak brick in the wall. You cannot execute what you refuse to see. Ownership is the work that is done before the mission even begins. This is the ignition switch of desire. Principle number 2 in its rawest form. It's not a wish, it's a declaration of war. It's the decision that the old you is the enemy and must be systematically destroyed. And this works for every area of your life. Trust me, the pattern is there. I'll show you how to see it, how to recognize what you've been missing all along, and how death by 1,000 cuts can transform you in such a powerful way that the success you're after stops being a wishful dream and becomes a reality, forged by a blueprint that you can follow from one success to the next. So let's paint a picture. Imagine for a minute that you're in a room, drab, forgotten room in Manchester, England. The year is 2002, and in this room is a handful of men that are staring at a mountain. Not a mountain of rock and ice, but a mountain of failure. A century of it. For 100 years, British cycling was a joke, a national punchline. They'd won a single Olympic gold in 76 years. Their best rider at the Tour de France finished a soul crushing 108th. Think about that. Their best rider, 108th. The mountain wasn't just to win, it was just to remain relevant. Into this room walks a man named Sir Dave Brailsford. He wasn't a cyclist, he was a former cabbie's son, with a sports science degree and an idea so radical, so simple that everyone else in the room probably thought he was insane. He looked at that mountain of failure, and he didn't see one giant problem. He saw it for what it really was, a pile of tiny, insignificant pebbles. And he knew that to conquer the mountain, you don't attack the mountain, you start by removing the pebbles. Brailsford stood up and laid out a philosophy that would become legendary. He called it the aggregation of marginal gains. He argued that the whole principle came from the idea that if you broke down everything you could think of that goes into riding a bike and then improved it by just 1%, you get a significant increase when you put them all together. 1%. That was it. That was the secret weapon. Not a revolutionary new training program, not a miracle drug, just 1%. The establishment laughed. They were looking for a sledgehammer. Brailsford showed up with what looked like a feather duster, but he was dead serious. He and his team started a forensic audit of failure. They didn't just look at the riders, they looked at everything, redefined the boundaries of the sport. They made the bike frames 1% more aerodynamic, the tires 1% lighter, the nutrition became 1% more precise. But then they went even deeper. They hired a surgeon to teach the riders how to wash their hands to reduce the chance of getting sick by 1%. Then they brought in special mattresses for 1% better sleep. They tested different fabrics of racing suits to find the one that was 1% faster at shedding water. They even hired a psychologist to teach the riders how to organize their hotel rooms so they wouldn't waste 1% of their mental energy looking for a sock. Every single detail, no matter how small, was put under the microscope. It was an obsessive hunt for tiny advantages. For the first few years, nothing happened. The pebbles were being moved, but the mountain looked the same. The critics, well, they just kept laughing. But Brailsford and his team, they kept chipping away, 1% by 1%. And then in 2007, the dam broke. The World Championship, the British team won 7 out of 17 gold medals. They didn't just compete, they dominated. In 2012, Bradley Wiggins won the Tour de France, the first Briton ever. The next year, his teammate Chris Froome, he won it. Then he won it again in 2015, 16, and 17. The lovable losers had become the most dominant force in the sport's history. They didn't conquer the mountain with one heroic charge. They conquered it by moving thousands of pebbles, 1% at a time. The story of Sir Dave Brailsford and the British cycling team, for me, is proof that success is built with patterns. And the philosophy found within the pattern is this: grand transformations are an illusion created by thousands of tiny, deliberate, almost invisible improvements. You don't need a miracle, you need the discipline to find the 1% and then the patience to stack it. So now we're going to do something even crazier. We're going to flip that pattern because that story was about adding 1%. Your story, well, your story is about eliminating 1%. The pattern is actually reversed. The pattern is elimination, it's subtraction. It's what I call the incremental death. This isn't about adding 1%, it's about eliminating 1%. It's about declaring war on the person you were yesterday, 1% at a time. Now, stick with me, and I'll show you how implementing death by 1,000 cuts will change your life in a meaningful way and will help you build that mindset for success, no matter the area of your life that you want to improve. And this pattern is not only easier to pull off, but it can bring incredible results even faster. Look at what happened at Apple. When Steve Jobs came back, the company was a complete mess. What did Jobs do? He didn't add a bunch of new things, he walked in with a guillotine. He cut 70% of the product line. He eliminated the clutter. He executed the complexity. He starved the old, bloated apple so the focused, minimalist apple could be reborn. He didn't build the iPhone, he first cleared the ground for it to even exist. Your life? Well, that's no different. You need to rewire your own mind to see the pattern and get brutally honest about what needs to happen. You need to look at your life and answer one simple but ruthless question: what needs to die? Again, principle number two: everything you do first begins with desire. The strength of your desire is key. So, are you willing to exercise that strength to succeed? Are you willing to rewrite the patterns for your own success? Here's the secret: the pattern you failed to see up to this point. Your blueprint for execution, implementing death by 1,000 cuts with three easy to remember steps. First, you must identify the infection. Don't just say I'm a procrastinator or just disorganized. Those are symptoms. What's the infection? The infection is the pile of mail on the counter that you never touch. The infection is the 200 unsorted emails in your inbox right now. The infection is that one app on your phone that you mindlessly open 50 times a day. The infection is that unproductive activity keeping you from growing and moving forward. Find the specific, tangible source of the rot. Second, you must destroy the pathway. Your brain runs on neural pathways. Think of them like well worn dirt roads. You can't just decide to take a new road, you must tear up the old one. If the infection is opening some mindless app when you're bored, don't just try to not do it, delete the app from your phone for a week. You just bulldoze the road. Now the brain has no path to follow. You're forcing it to forge a new one. The third, you must master the void. When you destroy a habit, you create a void, an empty space, and your brain hates empty space. It will scream at you to fill it. This is the moment of truth. Most people panic and they immediately reinstall the app, pick up that donut, and turn on the TV. They can't handle the silence. You must master the void. Sit in it for a minute. Feel the discomfort. That discomfort is the feeling of your old identity starving. That's the sound of victory. That's the opportunity because the game of death by 1,000 cuts has begun, and you're deliberately cutting away the things that have never served you. What you choose to fill the void with, well, that's up to you. But it better serve you. Otherwise, you're going to be back to where you were before. But only this time, you'll be more discouraged than you were before. Let me put it to you this way: think of yourself as a high performance engine. Right now, your engine is full of gunk, filled up with carbon from bad fuel, poor sleep, junk food, bad information, negative self talk. You can keep trying to add more horsepower with more motivation, more caffeine, more tricks to your brain, but you're just burning dirty fuel through a clogged engine. The real power comes from the full rebuild. You must take it all apart, scrape out every bit of carbon, clean every single valve. That's the incremental death. It's the dirty, unglamorous work of cleaning the machine so that it can finally run at its true horsepower, the way it was designed, the way you were designed. The power is already there within you. You just need to remove the junk that's choking it. Now, this is where it gets real. This is the psychology of the graveyard. You must be willing to hold a funeral for the parts of you and your old mindset that you eliminate. Because let's be honest, we get a weird payoff from our flaws. Being the procrastinator gets us the sympathy. Being the busy, stressed out one, well, that gets us the attention. And being the disorganized creative, it gives us the excuse. When you decide to execute those flaws, you're giving up that payoff. You're giving up that armor. It's vulnerable. It can be scary. But you must be willing to mourn the comfortable, mediocre person that you used to be. Every day, ask yourself, which excuse did I bury today? Which crutch did I break? Which security blanket did I set on fire? And celebrate that. You will have days where the old version of you shows up, no doubt. The ghost in the machine, if you will. You'll sleep in, you'll eat the cake, you'll skip that presentation, you'll miss the gym, you'll lose your temper. The amateur, the one with the weak desire, sees this as a sign that it's over. They tell themselves, I knew I couldn't do it. And they go right back to their old habits. Whereas the professional, those whose desire is strong, sees this as nothing more than a training exercise. The old self is simply a sparring partner showing up for another round. Good. time for more practice. You don't lose the war by losing one battle. You learn, you reevaluate, you evolve, and you say to yourself, no bell, this round is mine, and you get right back in the ring. Look at an athlete like Kobe Bryant. You think his greatness was just about practicing more? It was also about elimination. He eliminated the distractions. He eliminated the doubt. He eliminated the parties. He eliminated the friends who wouldn't push him. And he systematically starved the version of Kobe Bryant that would have just been another good basketball player. And he did that so that the Mamba could be born. He executed his own mediocrity, 1% by 1%, death by 1,000 cuts. It's not just Kobe either. Look at someone like Tom Brady. His legendary longevity wasn't built in one miraculous season. It was built on the relentless elimination of weaknesses, the 1% of sugar that he cut out of his diet, the 1% of sloppy footwork that he corrected. He has been executing his younger, less disciplined self for over 2 decades, death by 1,000 cuts. Understand, you must be willing to execute your own mediocrity. This is the evolution protocol. To achieve something that you've never achieved, you must do something that you've never done. You must become someone that you've never been. That's the reality. To reach success, you must evolve. You must aggressively shatter who you are right now before you can even begin to consider becoming who you say you want to be. If you skip this critical piece, well, the old you will come back to haunt you every single day. Most people really aren't living their lives. They're just streaming a pre recorded tape of their past. They wake up at the same time, pour the same cup of coffee, or grab that energy drink. They drive the same route and react with stress with the same old automated responses. We call this our personality. It's not personality, it's a highly efficient psychological prison. And your subconscious has the key. It's what Morpheus in the Matrix called a prison for your mind. So here's your blueprint. Again, real life application, implementing death by 1,000 cuts. This is where the rubber meets the road. This is how you turn a philosophy into a lifestyle, spiritually, physically, financially, mentally, and socially. First, identify the infection. Second, destroy the pathway. And third, master the void. And this is something I'm actively doing each day myself. In fact, yesterday I had this exact text conversation with my wife. I'll read you the text. I need to stop wasting time on my phone so late at night. I got better sleep last night, but I missed the gym yet again. I'm really going to have to lock in and get rid of that stupid, unproductive habit I let myself fall into. It isn't helping anything, it's just plain stupid. Was up too late and have nothing to show for it. If I was working on something, then okay. But I was just getting caught up in the news that didn't even matter. And now I'm at least an hour behind for the rest of the day. Frustrating. No more wasting time on my phone like that. When it's time for bed, it's time for bed. I mean, for me, it wasn't even about getting to bed on time. It was about getting to the gym the following morning and about cutting out the stupid habit that was creeping in and starting to form, which was getting in the way of what I wanted. Identify the infection, destroy the pathway, master the void. So that's exactly what I did. I put the phone away last night when it was time for bed, went to sleep, and got to the gym this morning like I wanted to. And another episode, I'll go ahead and explain the motivation behind that. But understand, I used to think that achieving big goals meant first having all the answers, and it doesn't. It means seeing the patterns and understanding the principles that are behind them. There's this powerful story about an ancient king who was surrounded by three massive armies. He was completely outmatched. And he didn't try to fake confidence either. He openly admitted, we have no might against this great company, neither know we what to do. But then he said one phrase that changed everything. But our eyes are upon thee. He narrowed his focus to his why. Now, if you're facing an impossible obstacle right now, stop staring at how big the mountain is. Admit you don't know the way forward. Shift your gaze entirely onto your why. And if it's powerful enough, watch the pattern begin to emerge. Principle number two, everything you do first begins with desire. The strength of your desire is key. Your why, well, that is the source of that strength. So go home tonight, look in the mirror, find your why. find one micro cowardice, one minor excuse, one tiny toxic routine you're coddling, the snooze button you always hit, the complaints you always make, the 10 minutes of social media you scroll before you even get out of bed in the morning. And tomorrow, when you wake up, kill it, execute it, put it in the ground, bury it, and then do it again over and over until you discover your why. You know the things that I'm talking about too. If you say that you have nothing holding you back that you should eliminate, then you're lying to yourself. And that serves no useful purpose other than to keep you right where you are, mediocre. But if you follow through, though, a year from now, you won't even be able to recognize the person that you are today. Not because you became someone else overnight, but because you methodically dismantled the version of you that was holding you back. You didn't add a new you excavated the version of you that was buried under the years of compromise and comfort. So I'm going to leave you with a little challenge. Whether you implement it or not, it's on you. For the next 24 hours, find one thing, one small, specific, entrenched piece of your old identity, one guard at his or her post at your fortress, one thing that you know that is holding you back, and you're going to eliminate it. Not try to, you're going to starve it, block it, delete it, destroy it. You will execute it with extreme prejudice because the life that you always wanted isn't waiting on motivation. The future you, the one who is free, focused, and winning, is waiting for you to clear the path so the becoming can occur. Stop building. Start destroying. The war for your mind, the mindset that you know that you need to develop, well, for you, that starts today. Thanks for spending some time. I hope that you found some value in this episode and that you begin to put it in practice in your own life and that you strengthen your own understanding of the out hustle mentality. I'm your host, Joe Levis. If you enjoyed this episode, like, follow, subscribe, and don't forget, hit that notification button so you don't miss any future content. And with that said, we'll catch you on the next episode.